A Brighter Future 529 Education Savings Plan.
Want to dress warm tomorrow. We'll be back into the 90s. However, you may want to make sure the umbrella and rain jack are on standby just because we've got some storm chances. She's ready to go, isn't she? We've got some nice weather to talk about, but then every once in a while, downpours are in the forecast. Once again, tomorrow afternoon, maybe you'll get one and maybe it'll help you cool off. Right now, we're watching a very messy atmosphere. We had a boundary finally start to push through the river valley today. It's already cleared northwest Arkansas. We were drier today. It wasn't as humid. In the river valley, some of us were humid and some of us weren't as humid, just depending on where that north wind started to come. It's slowly starting to filter out everywhere, but now we've got our next storm system back off towards the west. It's mainly going to be following into this cold front and kind of chugging along east, but because this front is still hanging by, it's going to come in towards the front and still give us a few isolated storm chances tomorrow afternoon, but everything's off towards the west tonight. We shouldn't have to worry about rain this evening. Tomorrow morning, as you're headed out the door, there may be a few extra clouds compared to what we've been used to the past couple of days. A couple clouds coming in from the west, eventually bringing some storm chances later into the afternoon. So they're going to storm all afternoon, but be on the lookout. There'll be some downpours here and there in northwest Arkansas as temperatures climb towards those upper 80s. In the river valley, the rain chance will be a little bit higher. We're going to try to hit 90. But with extra clouds and a few extra storms, some of us may not get to the 90-degree mark depending on when they come in. But most of us are going to start to get maybe an isolated storm in eastern Oklahoma by about noon, and they'll start to cross the state line closer to 2, 3 o'clock, just the time where we're trying to pick up the kids from school and they're headed to practice. But a couple storms will be possible later into the day. Some of them might have some gusty winds. Here's the rain zone map. The farther south and west you live, the higher the rain chance is going to be. So our friends in eastern Oklahoma, our chance is the highest as we watch these storms develop out west towards Lake Eufaula and I-40, and then we'll start to move eastbound. As eventually they move eastbound, they'll start to fall apart, but we'll have some downpours. Everyone's got a chance for a downpour at some point tomorrow. Here's a look at Futurecast. Overnight tonight, we're looking okay. Tomorrow morning, we should be mostly dry. A couple extra clouds possible, maybe a stray raindrop, but our storm chances come in later into the afternoon. I think we're going to be able to squeeze by till lunch hour mostly fine, and then after lunch, it's just game on for some pop-up downpours here and there. But notice how they start to come in from Oklahoma. They fire up and they march eastbound over time, and as they do, they'll fall apart. So the big question is, how far will they march east? And we'll just be watching them as they do. So keep an eye out on that western sky as they start to come in. But because of that whole system coming in, there'll be a few extra clouds, and we'll have stray storm chances the next couple of days. Tomorrow's not the only day. We have another chance for Friday. And then I think this weekend we'll probably get a little bit of a break before more rain chances come in for Labor Day itself, and then they drop back off again. So basically the next couple of days, just watch out for an isolated storm. I know that seems like a cop-out, but when you've got a messy pattern like this, you got a boundary towards the south. We've got another front coming in from the north, and we're just kind of sandwiched here at home in between two areas where storms like to fire up. It's just a messy pattern. But when patterns are very messy, usually severe threat goes down. Usually you get some gusty winds. We'll have to watch those. We've had some storms that produce flash flooding and even some damage with gusty winds. But when you're coming from a tornado perspective, things like that, it's just really not in the cards. But some downpours possible the next couple of days, a little bit drier into the weekend. And when you're talking about these downpours, most of them are just during the afternoon. So once the sun gets a little bit lower in the sky, they lose their fuel and then they're done. Here's a 10-day forecast at 10 o'clock in the River Valley. You got no low 90s for the rest of this week. Some low 90s into the weekend. Still warm for Labor Day, and then next week we should be just a touch cooler.
So really no worries if you're planning to get out for the weekend and do pretty much everything.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, just be able to look out. If it does rain for an hour out of your whole weekend, that's possible. But 1 hour out of how many?
72.
72.
Let's hope it's 72.
That was some good math right there. Impressed.
I won 3 days.
I like it.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Well, next in sports, getting to know your opponent.